Rene Descartes, thank you for coming in today. I have a few questions I'd like to ask you. What areas of philosophy have been explored by you?
Okay. Today, I'm widely regarded as one of the founders of modern philosophy. In particular, two areas of philosophy that I specialize in are epistemology and metaphysics. Regarding epistemology, I am famous for my studies of rationalism, which theorizes that knowledge is only obtained through reasoning, not experience. Our sensory experience does not provide us with enough certainty to claim that what we believe to be true is in fact true. In a similar way to how we approach mathematics and geometry, we must rely on arguments of reason to justify our beliefs and therefore to have knowledge. That is, I propose that all of our ideas are innate and that they do not come from our experience. Furthermore, I'm also known for my work in metaphysics. Generally speaking, in metaphysics, we seek to understand the truth about reality. In order to accomplish this, I propose that if I doubt everything that I possibly can, then I would eventually reach something that cannot be doubted and is therefore certainly true. I found that the only thing that I cannot doubt is I am thinking. Since thinking requires a thinker, I know that I must exist. This is the origin of my famous quote, "I think, therefore I am." My theory states that the essence of matter is existence and that the essence of mind is thought. The existence of the body can be doubted, but the existence of mind cannot. Thus, the body and mind must have different properties and are therefore distinct. This is what I like to call mind-body dualism. In fact, this sheds light on several big questions. If the mind and body are separate from each other, then is it true that my mind is no more in my body than it is in someone else's? The body is made up of ordinary matter, that is res extensa, and the mind is made up of what I call res cogitans, which represents things that are not extended in time and space. So, if the body is res extensa and the mind is res cogitans, then it could be possible that an evil genius is manipulating our mind to perceive things that are not real. This poses the question, can we really be sure that we know anything?
Great question, sir. My next question for you is, which of the areas could be considered your most important areas of contribution by rank?
Since I believe that rationalism is the basis of how we obtain knowledge, I feel that it is more significant than the work I did in metaphysics. Recall that rationalism describes how our knowledge is obtained through logical arguments of reasoning and not through a sensory experience. Before we attempt to answer big questions like, does God exist, or what is mind and what is body, we must first determine the best way of seeking this information. If we rely on our sensory experience to seek knowledge, then we will not be able to effectively attain it. Our sensory experiences are always changing and therefore unreliable when it comes to seeking important truths. However, by solving our problems using reasoning, we have a valid justification for our beliefs and therefore have knowledge. For example, a big topic in metaphysics is the idea of God's existence. If I were to rely solely on my sensory experience to investigate this topic, then I would have a difficult time proving God's existence, since anyone can claim to have seen or hear God, but a simple anecdote of how God was perceived by someone's senses is not good enough evidence to prove his existence. But by using logic and reason to approach this complex question, we can arrive at a more justified answer. Consider that I am an imperfect being, but I can conceive the idea of a perfect being. Only a perfect God can cause the idea of a perfect being. As such, God must have caused the idea of a perfect God. Therefore, God exists. In this example, I've shown that in order to approach difficult questions in metaphysics, one must seek this knowledge using reason. Therefore, my work in rationalism is the basis of my theories in metaphysics and is therefore more significant of a contribution.
Thank you, Rene. Now, Mr. Descartes, how does modern society continue to be influenced by your thoughts?
Many aspects of my work in philosophy can be seen in modern society. For instance, rationalism may be used today when proven ideas to be true that are not easily perceived by our own sensory experience. That is, there are many situations in which one must acknowledge the truth about something without being able to prove that it is true to ourselves using our own experience. A good example of this is the discovery of certain truths in biology. For instance, we know that our body uses glucose and oxygen to make energy, which also results in producing carbon dioxide waste. We do not know that this is true by seeking this process happen with our own vision, but instead we can use reasoning to show that this is true. Consider the following. We need energy to live. Glucose is a substance that is high in energy, so we consume it in our diet. We breathe in oxygen from the air and breathe out carbon dioxide. The body would not be constantly removing something that we need, so this CO2 must be waste. We may conduct experiments that show that without oxygen and glucose, living tissue produces much less energy in CO2. Although this is simplified from how it might be proven in a lab, I have used this example to illustrate that in some cases we must use reasoning to prove something to be true because it is not possible to see these things happen with our own eyes. It is through rationalism that many professionals have learned about biological processes that are difficult to see with the naked eye or even with a microscope. This can help improve our understanding of many aspects of reality and therefore can be used to explore metaphysics as well. Ultimately, my ideas regarding rationalism can be used today to justify our knowledge of reality.
Mr. Descartes, I want to thank you for your knowledge and your time today. Thank you very much, sir.